Black light. Talking about the black woman. I'm also talking about the foundation of creation, the mind. So I don't know how many of y'all can peep where I'm coming from, you know. But I got naysayers, you know. I don't have that many, so I got naysayers on the scene. But look, let's continue on with this black woman. You know, when I had a negative view about women coming up in Detroit, Michigan, and you know, I didn't always see the black woman as I see them now. But when I had daughters, you know, when I had daughters, I had to look at myself and try to be a strong example of a man, because I looked at all the men around me. They wasn't too cool, you know. Now my father, I mean, he did what all the other guys did, but he was a guy that built his home. His home came first, you know, and he took good care of me and my mother. Even though my mother had a job, but she didn't have to work if she didn't want to. But if she wanted a house and a white picket fence and things in life, luxurious things, or not just anything, because she wasn't too luxurious consciousness, but she just, you know, wanted things. And I'm gonna speak on that. As I was coming up, mostly I was in the neighborhood where mostly all the male parents worked in the factory, worked out at Ford's, Chrysler, somewhere in a factory, in a plant, steel plant, United Steel, and Detroit Diesel, somewhere in a factory. Detroit was a factory town, and they was making good money. Back in them days, it was good money. See, nowadays you'll starve to death trying to live off of what they making, or trying to live. But they was the middle class. But guys was drinking, and you know, some of my partner's fathers was drinking and trying to get more money, so they be hustling. They had some kind of hustle they did. After hour joint, pimping. Some of them was pimping after hour and working out at the factory. Some of them was selling dope, you know. But they always had a side hustle. And so, but my old man, he was pretty stable with his. He was a pool shark. He could shoot some pool. You know, because my grandfather owned the pool room, and my father grew up in the pool room. You know, but he treated my mother with respect. But my mother was the type that demand respect. You know, my mama would shoot you or either hit you in the head with something. You know, she had a quick temper. My old man had a slow temper. You know, so I got some of both of them in me. At first, I was quick-tempered like my mother. But as I got older, I became, you know, slow to anger. Because I seen how my father, he was smooth with his. He was cool all the time. When he getting ready to hit you, go upside your head, he wouldn't say nothing to you. You wouldn't even know he was mad. If you say something to insult him or do something crazy, he just, you know, he don't give you no warning. He told me, he said, man, don't argue with a nigga. Don't never argue. Do what you gonna do, you know. Do it quick and give it over with. That's how I was. You know, I didn't argue with nobody. If I'd have made up in my mind that I'm, you know, gonna do something to you, I'm gonna do it. But he told me, he said, a lot of times just walk away. So it take a bigger man just to walk away. But don't be arguing with nobody. You know. See, most people gotta build up, before they do something to you, they gotta build up an anger. You know. Once they build this anger up, then they ready to strike. But my father, he told me, he said, don't never get mad or angered. That take away your strength. So if you feel like you must do something to somebody, don't make sure that you calm, you relax. And always think ahead, 5 strikes ahead. You know, what you gonna, how many times you gonna hit him, where you gonna hit him. You know, picture in your mind, striking points, and try to take him out. If you pull a gun on somebody, use it. You pull a weapon on somebody, use it. Don't never tell nobody what you got. Don't never tell nobody what you got, a gun or a knife or whatever. I'm gonna stick you or whatever. You just do it. If you're gonna do it, do it. And calmly walk away. So he instilled that in me. So my mother, she was the opposite. But she had heart attacks when she was very young. But she outlived my father, though. She outlived my father because she got willpower, man. She had the will. She got strong willpower. That's in the DNA. So I started studying my mother, and I found out that women are more emotional than men. And so you got to be careful how you raise your daughters, and you got to be a strong example of a man. You know, otherwise they're gonna pick wrong. And I found that to be true. Like as I got stronger in myself, my daughters started picking stronger men. My first daughter, she was picking guys that was in the dope and whatever. Because I was in the dope. I never was a dope fiend, but You know, I tried to sell it, and I was dibbling and dabbling. And I thought that I was keeping it away from them, but they was, you know, observing what I was doing. So my daughter's death, you know, I contribute to it. You know, by the environment that I picked up on. As I got older, I learned from my mistakes. And I picked up a different viewpoint. I changed my mind. So one day I reached a point where I said, I'm going to pick myself an alternative way of thinking, an alternative way of living. And so I did that. And I had to get rid of my old habits and get that old environment out of my system. Even though I was in it, I had to rise above it. Every day I seen somebody get shot. I seen people breaking into houses. I seen people doing this. But I wasn't never like that. I made it up in my mind that if I could help somebody, if I seen something wasn't right, I'm going to speak up. I'm going to say something about it. You know, I made up in my mind not to be afraid of these young guys. You know, I got more tricks up my sleeve than they do. Because it's a dumbing down effect that they practice here in the United States of America. They don't pass on that information. Very seldom you see somebody doing that. And so the black woman, what grandma used to do, she don't do no more. Grandma had home remedies. They didn't go to the doctor. You know, not as much as the women of today go to the doctor. So we're gonna get back into this on the other side. We're talking about that black woman. Part 3. This is part 3. Black Light Out.